I want to bring in a man who certainly knows how to run a race. Chris Wilson, CEO of WPA Intelligence, who's worked as a Republican political strategist and a pollster for years. Chris, how do you see the state of play in terms of Senate races? I just spoke to someone from Austin, Texas, who said they love Beto O'Rourke, but they wish he would stay in the state and run for Senate and actually make a difference there.
Well, as Steve mentioned, and you said, much of the focus has been on the presidential campaign. That has really taken away from the Democrats' recruiting hopes for president. You mentioned Beto O'Rourke. You also have Joaquin Castro, that both probably could have made Texas a strong, more competitive than it is going to be right now. You've got in Colorado, you've got Governor Hickenlooper, who could make that a strong race, but he deferred. I mean, even like Montana, where Governor Bullock probably could have gotten into that race for Senate, made it competitive, but he's running for president. So you've really got so many different situations where Democrats have really failed when it comes to recruitment. North Carolina, as Steve went through those, he didn't.
But maybe the people behind them who are going to run, we just don't know yet. They could be great.
They could. That's but I'll tell you, the one race that's most likely to flip, Steve also didn't mention, that's Alabama, where Doug Jones has about as much chance of getting reelected as I have of winning the next Senate seat in Alabama. It's just that's one that is almost being written off by Democrats at this point. And so from that standpoint, I really think they've got an uphill battle. But that's not to say things couldn't go south. I mean, you can look at very quickly how environments can change. And I think you could also see a situation where some of these Democrats who are running for president could see, well, it's not really working out for me so well. Let me take another look at the Senate race. And if that happens, then all bets are off, and you can see things change very quickly.
Let's talk about a different Democrat. Pete Buttigieg on Fox News last night, going after Fox News' narrative and sort of defending how important it is to connect with their viewers. Watch this.
And when you got Tucker Carlson saying that immigrants make America dirty, when you've got Laura Ingraham comparing detention centers with children in cages to summer camps, then there is a reason why anybody has to swallow hard and think twice before participating in this media ecosystem. But I also believe that even though some of those hosts are not always there in good faith, I think a lot of people tune into this network who do it in good faith. And there are a lot of Americans who my party can't blame if they are ignoring our message, because they will never hear it if we don't go on and talk about it.
I spoke to a massive, unenthused Democratic donor last night who, after he saw Pete, said, hold on a second, I'm excited. The Fox News narrative of Democrats are all socialists or Joe Biden is a swamp dweller. That's the opposite of what Pete is.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really smart. You could almost call what he did there sort of his Sister Souljah moment in a way, where he went on and sort of took on the audience. But it's also smart in a way that I think Elizabeth Warren is so foolish by writing off going on Fox, and the way the Democratic Party has been foolish in terms of saying they shouldn't go on Fox. And I would say when we were making decisions as part of the Cruz for President campaign in 2016, there was internal conversation about should we eschew a certain network. And always we came to the conclusion no, because no matter where the certain host may be or some of the talking heads who are more commentary than news, and every network has them, the fact is the viewers are those who are going to be making the decision on who's going to be the next president of the United States.
20% of the viewers are independent.
That's right. And you could see it from the Buttigieg audience last night. They embraced him. They enjoyed what he had to say. And I think it does show the wisdom of him trying to build it out. And it's such you look at where the Democratic Party was and that nominated Barack Obama, who went on stage in 2014 and said there are no red and blue Americas. And he said, let's come together as one. And I think that's a message that really everybody in America is looking to hear this year. And it's
that
smart
message
to announce it.
Seems to be working for Joe Biden in a big way with his huge lead. Does it surprise you in any way, given all the Bernie voters even that are turning to Joe, since they're not so into the status quo? And Joe's a longtime D.C. guy.
You know, I think it shows how much Democrats want to win in 2020. That at this point, as you said, he is a longtime D.C. guy. And from that standpoint, that they're willing to put aside maybe some of the ideological differences they might have from him, maybe the rhetorical or historical differences in terms of his record, and say this is someone who we want to be our nominee. And it's smart from Democrats overall to take a look at that. The question is how is he able to maintain that after an Iowa or New Hampshire, where you've got where Sanders did very, very well in those states. And then he goes into the South. How does he do with those heavily minority voting bases? Is he able to continue to grow that lead? I think ultimately you're going to see that race boil down to Joe Biden and an anti-Biden from those 22 other candidates. And that's where it's really going to get interesting.
America asking for unity, that's not about a politician. That's a good message for our country.
It's why Ronald Reagan was so successful. It's why Barack Obama was so successful. And it is. It's the right message.
Unity, dignity. Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me.